Today we're going to listen to a story called Chrysanthemum. We're not going to use that for our backpack stuff. It won't hold
They're
it.
too heavy.
Yeah, they're too heavy. You are so right. This story is about a little girl who goes to school, and she has been given a beautiful, beautiful name. The day she was born was the happiest day in her parents' lives. She's perfect, said her mother. She's perfect, absolutely, said her father. And she was. She was absolutely perfect. Her name must be everything she is, said her mother. Her name must be absolutely perfect, said her father. And it was. Chrysanthemum. Her parents named her Chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum grew and grew and grew. And when she was old enough to appreciate it, Chrysanthemum loved her name. She loved the way it sounded when her mother woke her up. She loved the way it sounded when her father called her for dinner. And she loved the way it sounded when she whispered it to herself in the bathroom mirror. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum loved the way her name looked when it was written with ink on an envelope. She loved the way it looked when it was written with icing on her birthday cake. And she loved the way it looked when she wrote it herself with her fat orange crayon. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Chrysanthemum thought her name was absolutely perfect, and then she started school. On the first day, Chrysanthemum wore her sunniest dress and her brightest smile. She ran all the way to school. Hooray, said Chrysanthemum, school! But when Mrs. Chud took roll call, everyone giggled upon hearing Chrysanthemum's name. That's not very kind, is it? They should not giggle or laugh at someone's name. Let's find out how they solved that problem. It's so long, said Joe. It scarcely fits on your name tag, said Rita, pointing. I'm named after my grandmother, said Victoria. You're named after a flower. Chrysanthemum wilted. Do you know what that means, to wilt? It means to droop down, like a flower wilts when it doesn't get enough water. She wilted. She didn't feel as good about herself anymore. Her friends were not being kind. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and informed Mrs. Chud that Chrysanthemum's name was spelled with 13 letters. That's exactly half as many letters as there are in the entire alphabet, Victoria explained. Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria, said Mrs. Chud. Now put your head down. Let's put your water bottle down, please. Water bottle down. Victoria is the name of a child in our class, but the child in our class named Victoria is not like this at all. If I had a name like yours, I'd change it, Victoria said, as the students lined up to go home. I wish I could, thought Chrysanthemum miserably. Welcome home, said her mother. Welcome home, said her father. School is no place for me, said Chrysanthemum. My name is too long. It scarcely fits on my name tag. And I'm named after a flower. Oh, pish, said her mother. Your name is beautiful and precious and priceless and fascinating and winsome, said her father. It's everything you are, said her mother. Absolutely perfect, said her father. Chrysanthemum felt much better after her favorite dinner, macaroni and cheese and ketchup, and an evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that her name was Jane. It was an extremely pleasant dream. The next morning, Chrysanthemum wore her most comfortable jumper. She walked to school as slowly as she could. She dragged her feet in the dirt. Chrysanthemum, 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 she wrote. She even looks like a flower, said Victoria. We're not going to drink right now, but we can put our berries up later to get a drink. As Chrysanthemum entered the playground, let's pick her, said Rita, pointing. Let's smell her, said Joe. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. The rest of the day was not much better. During nap time, Victoria raised her hand and said, "A chrysanthemum is a flower. It lives in a garden with worms and other dirty things." "Thank you for sharing that with us, Victoria," said Mrs. Chudd. "Now put your head down." The teacher is really not listening to those children who are being mean, is she? She's not acknowledging their critical things. She knows that Chrysanthemum is a beautiful name, and Chrysanthemum is a delightful girl. "I just cannot believe your name," Victoria said as the students lined up to go home. "Neither can I," thought Chrysanthemum miserably. "Welcome home," said her mother. "Welcome home," said her father. "School is no place for me," said Chrysanthemum. "They said I even look like a flower. They pretended to pick me and smell me." "Oh, pish," said her mother. "They're just jealous and envious and begrudging and discontented and jaundiced," said her father. "Who wouldn't be jealous of a name like yours?" said her mother. "After all, it's absolutely perfect," said her father. Chrysanthemum felt a trifle better after her favorite dessert, chocolate cake with buttercream frosting, and another evening filled with hugs and kisses and parcheesi. That night, Chrysanthemum dreamed that she really was a chrysanthemum. She sprouted leaves and petals. Victoria picked her and plucked the leaves and petals one by one until there was nothing left but a scrawny stem. It was the worst nightmare of Chrysanthemum's life. That sounds like a nightmare, doesn't it? Yes. Chrysanthemum wore her outfit with 7 pockets the next morning. Oh, that's a lot of pockets. 7 pockets. She loaded the pockets with her most prized possessions and her good luck charms. Chrysanthemum took the longest route possible to school. She stopped and stared at each and every flower. "Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum," the flowers seemed to say. That morning, the students were introduced to Mrs. Twinkle, the music teacher. Her voice was like something out of a dream, as was everything else about her. The students were speechless. They couldn't believe it. She's quite a teacher. They thought Mrs. Twinkle was an indescribable wonder. They went out of their way to make a nice impression. Mrs. Twinkle led the students in scales. That's when you sing do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, like that. Then she assigned roles for the class musicale. Victoria was chosen as the dainty fairy queen. Rita was chosen as the spiffy butterfly princess. Joe was chosen as the all-important pixie messenger. And Chrysanthemum was chosen as a daisy. "Chrysanthemum's a daisy, chrysanthemum's a daisy." They're not being kind again, are they? Another time they're not being kind.
They're bragging.
Well, they're teasing her about her name.
I think
That
the
is
new
not
teacher
kind.
is gonna.
Joe,
gonna be
Rita,
nicer.
and Victoria chanted, thinking it was wildly funny. Chrysanthemum wilted. She did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She thought it was absolutely dreadful. Do you see how words can hurt?
Yeah. And then you get sad.
"What's so humorous?" asked Mrs. Twinkle. Chrysanthemum was the answer. "Her name is so long," said Joe. "It scarcely fits on her name tag," said Rita, pointing. "I'm named after my grandmother," said Victoria. "She's named after a flower."
I wish I was named after a flower.
"My name is long," said Mrs. Twinkle. "It is," said Joe. "My name would scarcely fit on a name tag," said Mrs. Twinkle. "It would," said Rita, pointing. "And," said Mrs. Twinkle, "I'm named after a flower, too." "You are?" said Victoria. "Yes," said Mrs. Twinkle. "My name is Delphinium."
Huh?
That's another kind of a flower. Delphinium. Delphinium
But that's
Twinkle.
what they
And
call
if my baby is a girl, I'm considering Chrysanthemum as a name. I think it's absolutely perfect. Chrysanthemum could scarcely believe her ears. She blushed, she beamed, she bloomed. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. Joe, Rita, and Victoria looked at Chrysanthemum longingly. They like her now that the teacher has told them that. Call me Marigold, said Joe. I'm Carnation, said Rita, pointing.
And I said,
My name is Lily of the Valley, said Victoria. Chrysanthemum did not think her name was absolutely perfect. She knew it. Do you see how saying unkind words, saying things that are mean to others can hurt them? That can hurt. I know that you will work hard to be kind to your friends. And you've each been given a beautiful, special name. So you get to do an art project with that name. I'm going to show you mine. I have started it yesterday with the other half of the class, and I'll show you how to do yours. So the first thing you're going to do is have your name like this. I have Mrs. Meyer. Right now, you're going to get your crayons when I tell you to, not right next minute, but when I give you your name, you're going to have your mask down, barrier up, crayons on your desk, and I'll give you your name. You're going to take a crayon, any color you would like, and you're going to decorate the letters, not around your name, just the letters. I'm going to cut these out. And so if you do decorations around it, I have to cut it off, so you don't want that. You're going to decorate inside each letter. Now, not coloring in the letter. I don't want you to look at this one, because this has also got paint on it. We're not doing that right now. But you're going to decorate with little designs inside the letter. So I've done some arrows here, and you press hard. I'm doing squiggles here. I did some pink stripes here. What are some other ideas for how I could decorate? What shapes? Raise your hand and I will call on you. Jack?
flowers.
Flowers. I could put flowers. Any other ideas? Yes?
You could do stars.
Stars. So I could maybe do a different color and do stars. I am sure that you have lots of great ideas. So each letter can be the same, it can be different, you can use different colors. And then when we're finished doing that this afternoon, we'll take them out and we will paint them. So,
Is Jen Horowitz here
Oh.
today?
I'm filming.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yes, but let me turn this off and